planned footsteps and stuff.
And the spandex tights and all together?
Yeah, and, you know, and everyone's got the guy with the blonde rag on. Yeah. And the drummer that smiles at the camera, you know.
There's Loud, and then there's AC/DC Loud. Their music shook stadiums, rattled the charts, and rewrote rock history. But behind the thundering riffs and roaring crowds lies a side of AC/DC most fans never hear about: clashes, rivalries, and tours that went from dream gigs to absolute nightmares. I'm talking about the bands AC/DC refused to ever share the stage with again, each story wilder than the last. Welcome to Rock Fame Diaries, where today, we uncover 6 legendary feuds that defined AC/DC's no-compromise attitude toward rock and roll. Number 1. Black Sabbath, the knife fight incident. Let's start with one of the most infamous moments in AC/DC history, when Malcolm Young knocked out a member of Black Sabbath. It was the mid-70s. AC/DC had just landed a huge opportunity, opening for Black Sabbath on their European tour. On paper, it sounded perfect, 2 powerhouse rock bands tearing through Europe. But backstage, chaos was brewing. One night at a hotel bar, a drunken argument between Malcolm Young and bassist Geezer Butler exploded into what would become rock legend. Some say Butler pulled a knife after Malcolm mocked the band's miserable mood. Others claim it was just a misunderstanding over a new flick knife Geezer had bought in Switzerland. Either way, tempers flared, and Malcolm wasn't one to back down. Witnesses say he hit Butler with a single punch, knocking him out cold. Sabbath's management was furious. They kicked AC/DC off the tour immediately, calling Malcolm too violent. Malcolm later said he didn't regret it. He was defending himself. After that night, AC/DC made one thing clear: they would never tour with Black Sabbath again. It was the moment the Young brothers cemented their reputation, fiercely loyal to their own, and never afraid to fight for their pride. Number 2. Deep Purple, the Sunbury Festival disaster. But before they were world-conquering rock gods, AC/DC had already proven they wouldn't bow to anyone, especially not Deep Purple. In 1975, the Sunbury Festival outside Melbourne was supposed to be AC/DC's big breakout moment in Australia. Deep Purple was the headliner, the biggest name on the bill. But things turned ugly fast. Deep Purple's crew rolled in with arrogance, demanding special treatment. They forced local bands to give up time slots, pushed people around, and acted like royalty. When their management tried to bump AC/DC off their scheduled slot, Angus and Malcolm refused. The Young brothers told the organizers flat out, "We'll play when we're scheduled, or not at all." That didn't sit well with Purple's roadies, who tried to intimidate AC/DC's crew. The argument turned physical, a full backstage brawl erupted. When the dust settled, AC/DC walked off the festival completely, refusing to perform. It cost them their biggest Australian gig at the time, but won them something more valuable: respect. Newspapers praised their guts. Fans loved that they wouldn't be bullied by international stars. The Young brothers had just sent a loud message to the music world. AC/DC answers to no one. Number 3. Aerosmith, when the headliners fell apart. Fast forward to 1978, Aerosmith, America's biggest rock band, invited AC/DC to join their US tour. On paper, it was a golden opportunity for the Australians to break into the American market. But instead of rock and roll glory, the tour became a nightmare. Aerosmith was deep in the grip of addiction. Steven Tyler could barely stand on stage, slurred lyrics, and sometimes forgot entire verses. The shows were sloppy and unpredictable. Meanwhile, AC/DC showed up every night on fire. Bon Scott and Angus Young tore up the stage with everything they had. Fans who came for Aerosmith left talking about AC/DC. But not everyone was impressed. Some Aerosmith fans didn't get AC/DC's raw aggression. They booed, threw objects, even hit Angus with a cup during one show. Still, AC/DC kept their pride. When the Fresno crowd went too far, Angus grabbed the mic and told them exactly where to go, before walking off stage mid-set. By the end of the tour, AC/DC was disgusted with Aerosmith's lack of professionalism. They swore they'd never share a bill again. Ironically, the tour that was supposed to help them make it in America ended up showing the world which band still had real discipline and fire. Number 4. Kiss. Music versus theatrics. Before the chaos of the 80s, AC/DC once toured with the Kings of Spectacle, Kiss. It was Gene Simmons himself who discovered them. He saw the young brothers performing in a tiny LA club, was blown away, and offered them an opening slot on the Alive 2 tour. For AC/DC, this was a huge break. Stadium crowds, major exposure, everything they dreamed of. But it didn't take long to see that the two bands lived on different planets. Kiss had makeup, costumes, fire breathing, and AC/DC had jeans, sweat, and amplifiers. To the young brothers, Kiss represented everything fake about rock and roll: too much show, not enough soul. Arguments broke out backstage about what real rock meant. AC/DC said Kiss cared more about selling lunchboxes and dolls than playing music. Kiss fired back that AC/DC didn't understand entertainment. By the end of the tour, the relationship had fizzled. AC/DC turned down future tours with Kiss, choosing to build their legacy on pure, no-gimmick rock. Years later, that authenticity made them timeless, while many flashy acts of the 70s faded away. Number 5. Mötley Crüe. The biting incident. Now, this one's straight out of a rock and roll circus. During the 1984 Monsters of Rock tour in Stockholm, Mötley Crüe decided to pull one of their infamous pranks. The band had this bizarre habit of biting people as a joke. Yeah, literally biting. That night, Nicky Six-Bit Eddie Van Halen on the shoulder. Vince Neil joined in. It turned into a fight, and AC/DC's Malcolm Young happened to be right there watching. Nicky turned toward Malcolm, laughing, until Malcolm growled, "You bite me, mate, and I'll chew your ear off." Instead of backing down, Six grabbed Malcolm by the hair, and the place exploded. Tommy Lee, David Lee Roth, and crew members jumped in. It became an all-out backstage brawl. After that night, AC/DC said it loud and clear: never again with Mötley Crüe. They weren't about to risk another bite incident, literally or figuratively. Number 6. The Rolling Stones. Turning down the legends. Finally, perhaps the most shocking story of all, the time AC/DC turned down the Rolling Stones. It was 1981. The Stones offered AC/DC a massive payday to open their Tattoo You tour, which went on to become one of the highest-grossing tours of the decade. But Malcolm Young said no, and his reason became legendary. He told management, "We're better than the Stones." Not out of arrogance, but belief. AC/DC didn't want to open for anyone. They wanted to fill arenas on their own terms. So instead of joining the Stones, they booked their own shows, and sold out many of the same arenas. That decision became a defining moment in their history. They proved you don't need to ride anyone's coattails to reach the top. 6 feuds. 6 unforgettable lessons in integrity, chaos, and rock and roll pride. From knife fights to walk-offs, AC/DC showed that success doesn't mean playing nice. It means staying true. They fought for authenticity in a world obsessed with image, and in doing so, became one of the most respected bands in history. If you loved this story, hit that like button, subscribe to Rock Fame Diaries, and ring the bell for more untold tales behind rock's greatest legends. Because here, every riff has a story, and every legend has a side you've never heard.